What's going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a terrific day. And today I'm going to talk about there are right ways to listen to your tinnitus, and then there are bad ways to listen to your tinnitus. And I see a lot of people doing the bad ways, and I did it the bad way. I think that that's just kind of a natural reaction if you're new to bothersome tinnitus. You're going to be tempted to want to listen to it the bad way. And I'm going to talk about why that is so detrimental and why that is just so horrible for you and your recovery. So let's dive into this video. So the bad way to listen to your tinnitus is you sit and you are trying to, see if you can get used to it, right? As someone put it, they're just so frustrated with it, and you're just I'm just going to listen to it. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're doing that, you're reinforcing these negative thoughts and emotions. And I guess the best way to explain what that looks like is I was working with a client, and I was working with a client and they said to me, I just got so frustrated with it. I sat in my closet and I would just listen to it and try and see if I could get used to it. Right. And they said that this really led them to a place of depression and feeling isolated and not wanting to leave their house and stuff like that. The reason this doesn't work is because you're listening to it with the wrong state of mind, with the wrong emotions. You're listening to it to reluctantly because you're oh my God, I'm trying to come to terms with this, which coming to terms with it is something that you have to do in more of a controlled therapeutic sense, right? So if you're trying to practice exposure therapy, which that is the best way to overcome something you're afraid of, you want to do it in a controlled environment where you feel in control and it's not further reinforcing these negative thoughts and fears about what it is that you're trying to overcome. So that's the negative way. Another bad thing that people do with listening to their tinnitus is they try to pretend like it's not happening. They try to pretend like it's not bothering them, like it doesn't exist. This doesn't work because, one, you're lying to yourself. It does bother you. It does suck. It is very difficult. It's painful. You do have it. You're not going to pretend. It's loud as heck, and it's right there, and it's bothering me, and I can't seem to concentrate, and it's driving me crazy. That's honest. That's at least honest about it. And the best way, the first step to recovery is you got to be honest with yourself, with people around you. You just have to be real. This sucks. I don't like this. I wish that it wasn't the case. It's bothering me. It's driving me crazy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cope with this. When you're honest, when you start speaking how honest you are, it starts to release you of the oppression. You're not lying to yourself. So what I would practice is I would sit there and be I hear it. I'm not going to deny that I hear it. I hear it, and it's making me feel upset. And then I would go on with my day. And if I heard it again, I would call it out. I hear it, and I'm sad. Right? And then I would go on with my day. That was one thing that I practiced. So I want to get to the positive way to listen to your tinnitus. So I'm going to tell you a story. So when I was struggling with tinnitus, I went on walks. And what I noticed is that when I was on the walk, the tinnitus bothered me less. And I think it was the mixture of, there were birds chirping, there were crickets, there was a lot of auditory distraction. But I think the bigger part, and the part I want to talk about, is that during that walk, I would take periods where I would sit on rocks and stuff, and I would just go into a meditative practice where I would practice being present, and I would practice just widening my awareness to other perceptions, and I mean, it didn't cure everything instantly or anything like that, but it made me feel a little bit better about the situation. And so I would realize that when I would focus on my tinnitus and in a situation where I had other sound distractions, right? And I would focus on it. What I noticed is that my mind would wander, right? Do you ever try to meditate and you're they tell me I can't meditate. My mind wanders. So even if I realized, even if I was meditating on my tinnitus, I'm going to focus on this tinnitus sound, I'm going to focus on the tinnitus sound. And I was in this tranquil state where I was allowing my mind to be fluid. I often would find myself be thinking about other things. So I would be trying to focus on the tinnitus, but I would be thinking about other things. Again, in this very peaceful, natural state, without, forcing myself to have to try to come to terms with it, right? I'd already been practicing being honest with myself. I'd already confronted the monster. I'd already been like, this sucks. I've told people. I was reaching out and sharing my story and all that. And so I didn't feel so isolated. And so because of that, I felt like I could then objectively experience it without freaking out to it. And so that really, for me, was kind of like the turning point in how I was able to eventually go on to recover. Was I didn't lie to myself. I was honest with myself. And, because of that, I think that allowed me to be able to practice exposure therapy without freaking out about it. So anyway, that wraps up this video. I hope this was informative, because this whole journey was extremely defined me as a person and who I am today. So I urge you all, if you want to work with me, sign up below. I have 20% off my coaching if you'd like to do that. Also, I have written a blog, and it's kind of crazy because I share experiences about like how when I was younger, I got like really high on mushrooms and drove an hour to an amusement park. Crazy stuff, but I'm telling my entire story, my entire life story in this blog, a different series of blog posts, because the crazy stuff that's happened to me, and I want to share it with the world. So just smash the link in the description, and I email that out, and you can go to my website and check that out. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, I urge you to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. So I look forward to reading all those comments. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.